News Radio 840 WHAS. Good Sunday morning. Bob Sokoler, the Louisville Real Estate Show, and we are here with you until the top of the hour. Thank you for joining us, folks, on this Sunday morning. A lot of interesting questions. So we're going to be talking about a lot of things, including this unusual question coming up a little later on in the show. Do you use a top sheet on your bed? There's a new debate. We'll talk a little bit about that. We'll also poll the two people who are with us for this show. First, sitting in for Lee Harris is Trevor Kleins, who's an attorney over at Limestone Title and Escrow, LLC. And we know, Trevor and I know each other because we've done a number of closings together. Also welcoming Randy Rocky, who is co-owner of Swan Financial. They do a great job of getting you pre-approved and to the closing table. You can reach Randy at 645-0736. Good to have you, Randy.
Good morning, Bob.
Good morning. And also, if you are thinking about selling your home, either now or in the future, please do not hesitate to reach out to me for a free, no obligation analysis. We can come out, I'll talk with you, and we'll discuss what the plan might be. Maybe it's something you need to work on immediately. Maybe it's a year or two off, but at least you'll have that plan in front of you. You can reach me anytime on my cell phone, 502-376-5483, or go to bobsellslouisville.com. First question, and this is a big one for Randy Rocky over at Swan Financial. So Heather's planning to buy her first home this year because she is hearing that interest rates are coming down. Now, we've been hearing that, though this week and the past couple of weeks, she and many of us have heard that they went up, they go down, they go back up. So she's wondering what is going on. And will they come down this year or later? What's your thoughts on this, Randy Rock?
Yeah. So NMLS number 26362, again, we have a 4.75 30-year fixed rate. It does cost a couple points to buy it down, but it's been a fantastic, the public has really enjoyed that rate. So I don't know where rates are going to go. And I go back to the same person that, Bob, you kind of caught onto this with me as Barry Habib, and there's nobody better in the industry, and he doesn't know where interest rates are going to go. What I do think it's going to happen is when they drop, the pent-up demand is going to be so incredibly large that we're going to have, like at the beginning of COVID, and Bob, you can allude to this more than me, but where people were paying 40, 60, 70,000 for a $250,000 house over asking, where there's 30, 40 people at it. And right now, to me, this is the time to buy because there isn't as many people out shopping for a home, and it's simple supply and demand, which we know we only have 1/3 of the inventory we really need right now. So that's what I suggest for all homeowners to do. So I think she's doing the right thing, or potential homeowners, by buying right now.
So I did a little more research for you, Heather, and everyone else who's wondering about these mortgage rates. And according to Fannie Mae, the predictions in December, they were thinking that by the fourth quarter of this year, that rates would come. Now, remember, this is December of last year, that they would come down by the end of this year to 6.5%. But they revised that decision after the Fed announced in December of last year that they're going to cut the rates, at least that's what they were saying, somewhat 3 times, and some were speculating 6 times. So the new estimate from Fannie Mae is that by the end of this year, fourth quarter, rates will be down to 5.8%. Now, anything is likely to happen, but the good news is the economy is improving despite what might be a bit of a recession coming into play, and that's the good news, I think, overall. So we move on. Jamie is a buyer. This is, of course, now going over to Trevor over at Limestone. Jamie's a buyer in a home subdivision in Jefferson County. Notice that some very restrictive rules and regulations are in the homeowner association. For example, cars cannot be parked on the street and no trucks are allowed to be parked in the driveway. So Jamie is wondering, do homeowner associations in Kentucky have to follow state laws as well as their own regulations? What's the process, she says, of appealing those restrictive regulations? All right, Trevor, this is your first one. What do you think?
Yeah, no problem. So usually we would look into the restrictions themselves and the bylaws for the homeowner association, see if there's anything internal there that tells you the process. Homeowner associations are governed by laws and administrative regulations through the state of Kentucky and through the legislature. So they do have to abide by some rules. But as far as the particular appeal process, you'd want to look first to the bylaws themselves And then you'd want to look to the restrictions themselves, see if it tells you the process there. If not, you can always take them to circuit court and appeal their decision.
So wait, this is a kind of a new wrinkle for us. So you can take the bylaws to circuit court?
Well, no, you can't take the bylaws, but I mean, you can take a decision by a homeowner association if they don't have any authority through their own bylaws and through their regulations. I mean, they are governed by Kentucky administrative regulations. So there's laws, administrative, just like real estate agents are governed by administrative regulations, right?
We are.
There's some that govern homeowner associations, and you could look into those. And Lee and I'd be happy to look into them if you'd like. But it just typically the appeal process is through the association itself, their bylaws and regulations. It's usually not much of an appeal process. If you're trying to get something appealed, usually they have more power and say than you'd think. So.
All right. Well, Jamie, we'll give out Trevor and Lee's phone number in just a little bit, so stick with us. If you want to see a rebroadcast of this show, you can actually see, because we're doing this via Zoom, which goes over to YouTube, because we're still doing these in a COVID environment. You can go to LouisvilleAnswers.com. That's LouisvilleAnswers.com. I don't know how many of you know this. If you're a friend on Facebook, you may know that I got engaged beginning of this year. And
yes.
Yep, and my fiance is a nurse with doctor status. She's got 3 degrees. One of them is a doctor at a pharmacy, and a brilliant lady. And she sees over at the Baptist, the outpatient, the constant flow of COVID people, COVID and flu, and she was telling me how it hasn't gone away. We got to be really protective. So please, folks, remember what the old COVID regulations. Maybe you don't wear a mask because you're okay, but if you can, wash your hands all the time and stay clear and whenever you touch anything. So that's the fiance, Jeannie. Love her. Yeah, well, the marriage is set for July 11th. This is a question for both of you. Alyssa is both selling and buying a home this year, and she's wondering, what mistakes do buyers and sellers make when it comes to applying for a loan or preparing to come to the closing table? So I'll give you maybe some of these, and you guys tell me, jump in, Trevor, if you got any. Let's see. The first one, don't change jobs or become self-employed. Don't quit. Right? Good there?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Don't buy a new car, truck, or van.
Yes.
Don't use any charge card and let your account fall behind.
You can use a charge card, but you just don't want your account to fall behind.
Okay. Don't buy any furniture, which I guess is the same thing. You don't want to open any new accounts at any stores, right?
Right. You just don't want to do like a 90-day same as cash or something of that nature. If you want to buy cash for furniture, you can.
Yeah, cash. But don't take, which brings us to another one. Don't take any money out of your savings or checking account once you've applied for that loan, right? Because that could be a real problem, correct?
That is correct. It can be. Now, again, consult your mortgage originator, because a lot of times it won't matter if you have a certain amount of money in there. But yes, as a rule, that is correct.
Don't allow any additional increases on your credit card level, right? That's a point we've never talked about before. So don't ask for an increase, which is an indication that you're maybe wanting to spend more money. Is that right?
Right. I mean, if they're going to close within 120 days, that will not come into play because you don't have to repull credit, but it'd be better to wait till afterwards. Yes.
And don't change your bank accounts. Don't move banks.
No.
Don't do that. Yeah, don't do that. Anything that we missed on that for Alyssa?
I got a few.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, from title side, make sure you know how you're getting your funds. How you're getting your funds to the title company, how you're getting them to the escrow account to pay for the property. We deal with a lot of folks that move from out of state, and they might bank at a Wells Fargo or a Bank of America. And those are two banks that we don't have branches for here in Kentucky. And I have people show up and think that they're just going to be able to wire money over the phone. And guidelines are very tight with banks now. Can't wire money over the phone. So they'll show up with no way to get us their money besides driving to, like, Nashville is the closest Wells Fargo, I believe, and Cincinnati's the closest Bank of America, or vice versa. And they have to drive there and initiate wires in person. And then you have a lot of online banks now, the ones you see advertised on TV that don't have physical locations, and they have limitations on wires and how they can get funds. So make sure that your title company and your loan originator knows where you bank, and that you reach out to your banking institution to make sure that you're going to be able to send the money when requested for closing day.
Good points. Randy, anything back to you?
Yeah, and Trevor, you'll be able to allude to this. In the state of Kentucky, make sure your husband or wife, if you're married, knows you're buying a home. Trevor, can you
so
elaborate on that? Yeah.
Yeah, so you have you have dower and courtesy rights in Kentucky, where once you become married, your spouse has a potential future interest in the property. Now, Randy, we talk a little bit more, but it used to be that you could buy in cash without your spouse having to know. Now they've changed some statutes here in Kentucky, and you can actually buy without your spouse signing with a loan now in Kentucky. Randy, I don't know if you knew that, but that you will be on title as a married person, and they will have potential interest. Bigger headache is don't try to sell without your spouse, because you're going to need their signature.
Right.
Whether you buy the property when you're single and get married after the fact, even if you don't live in it, if it's investment property, if it's held in your individual name and you get married, as soon as that marriage license is filed, you need your spouse's signature to transfer that title. So make sure you're aware of that.
Good stuff. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, this question, do you use a top sheet on your bed? And we'll poll everybody here. We'll tell you about this new debate. Continuing with us, Randy Rocky over at Swan Financial does a great job, this company, getting you pre-approved and to the closing table with this incredible rate, which is a buy down, but it really does bring down your mortgage payment. And Randy can give you more information. You can reach him. And what's the rate number now? It's
4.75 APR 5.93.
You can reach Randy at 645-0736. That's 502 area code 645-0736. And also in for Lee Harris, who is a legal counsel over at Limestone Title and Escrow, is Trevor Klein, who's an attorney over there. I've done a number of closing with him, and he's a great guy. You can reach Lee at 649-7964. That's 649-7964. And if you're thinking about selling your home now or in the future, even if you're thinking of buying a home, I can help you. Simply give me a call. I can come out for a free, no obligation analysis and give you the update on what the plan might be to get you sold in a time that is good for you. Remember, it's really important that if you buy or sell and you give it away, in other words, you get an agent who comes in and buys the house out from under you, you're typically not going to get top dollar. And that's why we put it on the market and sell it fair trade and get you the top dollar. You can reach me at 376-5483 or go to bobsellslouisville.com. We're back in a moment on News Radio 840 WHAS. News Radio 840 WHAS, the Louisville Real Estate Show, continuing to the top of the hour. Thank you so much, Barbara Corcoran, who's a friend, a mentor, and you see her on Shark Tank, either the new ones or the old ones. She's a great lady and has a lot of good advice. We thank her for being a friend and a mentor. I'm Bob Sokoler. I'm the co-owner of the Sokoler team over at RE/MAX Properties East. And if you're thinking of selling now or even buying, call me for a free no obligation analysis. We'll figure out what the price is at the current rate, market-wise, and then what the plan might be. You can reach me on my cell phone, 502-376-5483. or go to bobsellslouisville.com. Continuing with us, Randy Rocky, Swan Financial. He is one of the co-owners there and does a great job. They get you to the closing table. You can reach Randy at 645-0736. In for Lee Harris is Trevor Klein, who is an attorney over at Limestone Title and Escrow. And you can reach Lee, who's legal counsel over there, 649-7964. All right. So let's poll it. Let's start, Trevor. Do you use a top sheet on your bed or not?
I do not.
Don't. Aha. Randy, top sheet or not?
Yes, we do.
You do. I do. Now, Victoria wrote us that she just got married. Both her and her husband are at odds. There you go. With her regarding the use of a top sheet. Victoria says no top sheet. Her husband says they should use a top sheet. I did some research. Mattress company Casper says 58% of Americans like top sheets, with older sleepers more attracted to the top sheets than younger. So why would you want to use? Well, there's comfort. You might want to sleep with a top sheet, a light blanket in the warmer months. Aesthetics, if you like the look of a layered bed, top sheet works. The ick factor, mattress company Air Sleep commissioned a study on germy sheets, and germaphobes beware. Sheets have 25,000 times more bacteria than the bathroom doorknob, and that's in just 1 week of use. Now, if you don't use a top sheet, Trevor, make note, Making the bed takes no time at all, so you just hop out and put on the duvet or the top cover. Europeans throw off the tyranny of the top sheet years ago. The duvet became the popular across the continent over in Europe. And as noted in the Casper study, many Americans are getting rid of that top sheet, but mostly driven by younger people ditching the top sheet altogether. And what about germs? Well, as you would wash your sheets, you need to wash the duvet, cover a blanket. Remember that, Trev, if you're using that up against your body. So those are some of the do's and don'ts and things on top sheets. Interesting problem. All right, we go back to our questions. Trevor, Connie has her house on the market in Bullitt County. She is not happy with her realtor. Apparently, she does not like the realtor's pictures, what was written about the house. There have been very few showings on her house, and Connie says she wants to get rid of the contract. She signed with the realtor to list the house. She's wondering what is the process involved in doing that. Trev?
Well, first thing you want to do is reach out to the real estate agent themselves and let them know you're dissatisfied. I'm sure Bob could speak to this too. I don't know too many agents that said, hey, if a client calls and said, hey, I want to cancel my listing contract, that would not let them out of that contract. It's just bad PR, bad business.
Right.
That being said, I'd have to read what she has signed with the brokerage to see what the specific process is. But typically, you'd be able to reach out to the agent and or the broker of the office, and 99 times out of 100, they're going to let you out of that contract. They don't want bad PR having people trapped in the contracts.
Yeah, and they may even rewrite or reshoot the pictures and kind of do an analysis on the pricing of the house to see why they would not be getting of showings. But yeah, definitely reach out to the agent first. Reach out to the broker if the agent isn't able to help you, and that should at least get the ball rolling. And we wish you the very best on that, Connie. Back over to Randy. Rocky. Nina, not happy with her mortgage company. We're on a kind of a trend here. Not happy with her mortgage company. She's thinking she's being overbilled. The mortgage company has tried reaching out to her by phone and or letter, and Nina says she's ignored those contact attempts. Now the mortgage company is calling the loan and demanding payment. And Nina is wondering, is that even possible? And what should she do, Randy Rocky?
What probably happened is they adjusted escrow from year to year, and she made the same payment, if I assume that, which is less than what the actual payment should be. And now they're calling the loan because they're saying, hey, we're going to put you in foreclosure, and either you get it refinanced or we're going to start the process. So if I had to guess, that's what happens. I think the thing I would have done different is I would have communicated with the actual company, the servicer of the loan, and worked my way through it rather than get to this point that she's at.
Yeah, good point about that. And can she get caught up and maybe make things right with the mortgage company if she pays if there's an escrow deficiency?
I don't think so. I think a lot of times once you're at that point of calling the note, then they're gonna execute and move forward. Either you got to refinance it or they start the process of foreclosure.
All right, good point. Let me just sidebar here for one second. So there have been changes to a lot of our monthly mortgage payments because our escrow payments have changed. I know I got a notice last month that mine was changing the beginning of March. So I've already gone online and done the automatic update on what I need to do. So would you suggest everybody who's listening right now, if you are paying an escrow account, check to make sure that your payment hasn't gone up, or in some cases gone down, but I have a feeling it's gone up. Insurance, taxes, those are things that will contribute to a shortage in the escrow account, right?
Yes, absolutely. I think it's a great suggestion.
Yeah, this is one of those that you don't want to let put in the back of your mind, back burner, and think about it later and then have to worry about it. Because what happens if this is the same problem. If you don't get caught up, they're going to come after you. The mortgage company will come after you and close the loan. Yeah.
Yes, that is correct.
All right. Hey, a reminder, we're really proud of our reviews. We try to do an outstanding job with all of our clients, buyers and sellers. And, some people say we'll do 100%. We try to do 120% above and beyond. You can read about those reviews. Go to LouisvilleZillow.com or LouisvilleGoogle.com. Back over to Trevor Klein's over at Limestone. David lives in one of our surrounding counties, and he does not want to say which one. And he just received notice from the government that part of his land is being taken to expand a road under what is called eminent domain. And so David never heard of that term, and he's wondering, can they really force him to sell part of his property? Trev?
Yes, they can. That's just that's power that the government has. They can force him to sell his land. They're going to make an offer. We don't deal too much with that in our residential and commercial world, but back in my early days as an attorney, I did help somebody with a similar situation. What you can do, and you'd want to consult somebody that specializes in that locally, but broad perspective, you can, they're going to basically provide you a value from what they think based on the amount of land, etc. You can file exceptions and kind of fight the road department and the government to see if you can get more money. But a lot of times, it might be better to take the first offer as opposed to spending money on an attorney to try to fight it. But yes, they can just take your land. There's a process for it. There's due process, but that is that can happen. Yes, sir.
Yeah. They're going to give you fair market value based on an appraisal, but you can appeal that appraisal. And I happen to know that from experience as a former television reporter and anchor. I did that for 25 years before becoming a real estate agent 20 years ago. One of the places I worked for 7+ years was in Orlando, Florida, and I covered the condemnation of many homes for the expansion of the East-West Expressway. If you know anything about that, that was a big project down there. So I'm well familiar that they can do it. Not nice, but in some cases, especially if it's for the expansion of a airport, it's better to get out and then to stay there and be, because the ones who really failed were the ones whose homes weren't taken by the government, who now were sitting next to the expressway or the airport, right? So that becomes an even bigger problem. So we wish you the very best of luck, David. Randy Rocky at Swan. Connie was approached by someone on the phone promoting something called an FHA reverse mortgage. Now, Connie says she listens to our show on a regular basis, sent us the email asking if there really is such a thing as an FHA reverse mortgage, or is it a scam? Randy.
Funny, you refer me to Connie that I'm doing a reverse mortgage for
Really?
right now.
Oh, I didn't.
Yes,
Maybe
I mean
that's
that's
the same person. Okay.
yeah.
No, it might be the same person. Yeah.
No, it's not a scam. It's actually it's a great product for seniors above 62 and above. All the scenarios where they throw you out of your house and et cetera, it just doesn't happen. And I'll go on record saying that you still have to pay your taxes and your insurance. As long as you do that after you close, you never need to make another payment again. And in a nutshell, whatever is left over after you pass and you sell the property goes into your estate. That's whatever is left, the equity. So no, there's nothing that's a scam about a reverse mortgage. It's a great product for certain people in that are senior citizens.
We'll give out Randy's number in just a little bit if you want to contact him about an FHA reverse mortgage. Incidentally, if you want to sign up for our newest newsletter, we send it out every 2 weeks. It's free of charge. This week's topic is which flooring material is best for you if you're changing flooring material. You can go to welovelouisville.com. That's welovelouisville.com. All right, let's go to Trevor over at Limestone. Terrence owns a 4-plex rental property in Jefferson County. He writes in this email that he is wondering, can he trespass on the renter's apartments if he believes they are defacing the apartments? He does not remember what the rental agreement states, so he's kind of blank on that. And he wants to maybe find a copy of it, but he can't. So he is wondering, is there any way as a rental manager or owner, can he just go into the apartment? What are your suggestions?
Not without notice. My suggestion is first to find the rental agreement because you're going to stipulate in there, but not without notice. I believe law in Kentucky is 48-hour notice. You got to give a tenant to inspect the property. Most of the time it's for simple things like replacing the filter in the HVAC or the furnace. But 48-hour notice. I would post it on the door. But I would find your rental agreement because you should have stipulated in there as well. But I would not just go walking into anybody's door. You don't want to trespass onto a tenant's property. That'd be same thing as them walking into your unit. So you want to be very careful there. But at least a 48-hour notice you're going to want to give the tenant before you go in there.
Yeah, would you say most rental agreements do have some sort of clause about 48-hour advance notice?
Yes,
Yeah.
and I believe that's the law in Kentucky, and Landlord Tenant Act applies in Kentucky, which is the 48-hour notice.
And Terrence, you need to get a little bit more organized if you're going to have rental properties, because it's to your betterment to do that. All right. A reminder that if you want to see and hear what sellers are saying about us, we're proud of those reviews as well. Go to LouisvilleSellersTalk.com, Louisville Sellers Talk. All right, final question for Randy Rocky. Stephanie writes in, it's an interesting question. She's planning on buying her second home later this year. She already owns one, and she'll sell it and then buy a second one. Some of her friends have been turned down for a mortgage over the past years, and she's wondering if we or you, Randy, had any formula for getting approved for a mortgage. Anything that you could give her as an idea in terms of being approved, making sure?
Yeah, one formula is if your total amount of debts, including your new mortgage payment, if it's 50% or less debt to income. So if you make $6,000 gross a month, your total payments can't be over $3,000. Second formula is just pay your bills. At least make the minimum payments on them. That will help you a lot on getting approvals on credit cards and all the things that report to the credit bureau.
Yeah, because that's important. Maybe check your credit to make sure that it's up. What's the minimum credit now for an FHA or conventional?
580,
Okay.
640 on 620, 640 on conventional. But and the thing is if she's thinking about buying even in a year, I would recommend that her call a loan officer and go ahead and start the process and go ahead and get your credit pulled, because you need to know if there's any problems. You have plenty of time to fix those issues.
One person I would suggest you might want to think about contacting is Randy Rocky. Does a great job, he and his team over at Swan Financial. You can reach Randy to get your credit pulled and get pre-approved for a loan at 502-645-0736. Our thanks to Trevor Kleins, who is attorney over at Limestone Title, who is sitting in today for Lee Harris. Trevor, you did a great job. We appreciate you being there today. You can reach out to Lee anytime at 649-7964. And if you are thinking of selling your home now or in the future or looking to buy a home, I can help you. You can call me anytime for a free, no obligation estimate and a plan of what you need to do. You can reach me on my cell phone anytime at 502-376-5483, or you can go to bobsellslouisville.com. Also, one other reminder, if you want to see a rebroadcast of the show, go to LouisvilleAnswers.com. That's LouisvilleAnswers.com. That's a redirect to our YouTube channel where you'll see this show. We are out of time. See you next Sunday on News Radio 840 WHAS.